Hello guys. So now what we're going to do here is we're going to create a virtual environment. So before we go ahead, I want to explain to you what is a virtual environment. So this right now what we are working on is a desktop environment. So this encompasses entire work inside our PC. So if we want to work on a particular part of our project, and we don't want it to be bothered by what else happens in the rest of our environment, we need to compartmentalize that individual part. All right, so if you take a real world example, if you're trying to build something, you don't want to build it in the living room, because when you're trying to do something new, it might cause some trouble with the surroundings. So in that case, what we're going to do, we're going to either shift it to the garage or at some place at work or anything else. So in a similar way, we are going to create a virtual environment which is a compartment inside a desktop environment, but it will not be bothered by the desktop surroundings. So first we need to install the software. So type the command pip install virtualenv -win. This is for Windows. So it's giving me a pip warning, which it's not mandatory for me to do. So this says requirement already satisfied because I have previously installed it. So it's showing that the requirements are already satisfied. If you haven't installed it, it's going to do its procedure, but you need not worry because it's going to take care of everything. So while this is being installed, let's wait for it to be done. So what we're going to do here is after this is installed, we're going to install Flask right in here. You see, now it says requirement already satisfied and the installing successfully installed. Alright, so it is also showing me a warning to upgrade my pip version, which I'll do it later. Right now, a much more important thing is we need to create a virtual environment. Right now we have installed the software that install a package that is going to help us to create and use a virtual environment. So what we're going to do here is type this command mk virtualenv, and now we need to name it. So what are we going to name it? A sample. Yeah. Now wait for the command to complete. So after I have completed installing my virtual environment, I'm going to change the directory path which I'm in, because I need to save whatever code that I'm writing, whatever code that will be necessary for creating our application. We're going to create a new directory in a new location. So right now I'm in my C directory, so I'm going to change it to the E, and then I'm going to create a new directory with mkdir. The name of the directory will be sample. Alright, so now I'm going to shift it to sample. Alright, so clear it out. So here I'm going to actually create my virtual environment. So work on create mk virtualenv, which is mk means make. Now give it a name. I'm going to give it the name which with the folder is saved. Okay, it says already exists, so let me remove and again make it. So this is the command for removing. So now I'm going to make it again, so that it's gonna take a little time. Yeah, now it's completed. So if you want to see all the virtual environments that you have created over time, you can visit them by typing this command, work on. So these are all the what we call the virtual environments that I have, because I have worked on different projects including Django and Flask. I do have multiple of them. But if you want to go inside a particular virtual environment, what are we going to do? We are going to type work on and then specify the virtual environment name. Now if you see, we are inside it. Although it shows here because while we are creating it, we have gotten out of it. So if you want to get out of the virtual environment, just type deactivate and you're out of it. But if you want to go inside again, work on sample. Alright, so this is how it works. So the main important thing is we need to run our basic first application. So what are we going to do here? We're going to install Flask. So let's head over to our website, Flask. Go to the projects part. So if you look for installations, where do we have? Yeah, here it is, pip install Flask. So we're going to use it and wait until the installation process finishes. Alright, yeah, it's collecting everything, downloading. Yeah, pretty much everything is done right now. Yeah, successfully installed. So now our Flask has been installed. So let's go into our Atom. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a new file. Sorry, close it. New file. So it's throwing some dependencies. New file. Yeah. So what I'm going to say is I'm going to write some code here. So before that, I'm going to save it. I'm going to in my new sample, and I'm going to give the name app.py. Why py? Py, because it's a Python file, and save it. Alright, so now I have my sample folder and my Python file is inside the sample. So write the code. That's what I'm going to write now. It might not be very clear to you, but just follow it so that we can actually test whether setup has been successfully installed or not, because we want to test before we go further. Alright, so just write what I'm about to write. So from Flask, import Flask with capital F, and then app equal to Flask, Flask, and inside the parenthesis double underscore name double underscore, and here we're going to create a route. So this route is going to direct the requests to this part. Alright, so here we're going to create a new function. It might be called the index. Alright, so here we're going to return a simple string, hello world. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we need to make sure that it runs if double underscore name double underscore equals to quotations double underscore main double underscore and a colon, type app.run. Now save this thing and come back to our command line terminal. So what are we going to do? Here we are going to run the application. So if you see what's in our path, only one file. What is it? app.py. So how do we run it? Python app.py. So Flask comes with a development server which will help us to actually test. So this already says here a warning. This is a development server. Do not use it in a production deployment. So this is only for development purposes. So our application is running at this URL. Alright, so let's go and test it out. So if you observe, 127.0.0.1 is similar to how we have described in the previous lecture. What is it? An IP address along with the domain name. So what does the domain name of this IP address is? It is localhost. So you can either type this or you can also type localhost. So I'm coming here, I'm going to go localhost colon 5000, because it says 5000 is its port. So it's running right now. So we need to get our result here. So let's waiting for localhost. Yeah, we did get our result. Alright, it says hello world. So right now this code might not be clear to you, but just understand that we have got the result. So all the setup has been done very neatly and successfully. So after this lecture, we are going to actually get into the main part, and we are also going to learn what this code actually means. So let's meet in the next lecture.